Hello, and welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey through self employment, writing, and creating shows, and will be imparting to you the things that I've learned so far so maybe they can help you on your journey. So, it's been about 4 months since I've started this self employment journey, and at times it has been relaxing. I've been resting, working on things, editing audio, fishing, and so much more. The beauty of that, I can say, is that it's been all on my own time. While other times it's been nothing but honestly stress. But the one thing I can say is at least it's my stress. It's not the stress brought to me from a boss because I'm not getting their bonus right, or while I get nothing, or the stress of getting someplace on time with the fear of being written up, or any of the other added stressors of being in the workplace, that you have to go through. You know what they say, choose your hard. And while this self-employment thing is hard, it's my hard. It's the thing that I want to do because I know it's going to be pushing me forward into the place that I want to be. But nonetheless, I have to still make money to pay bills and to live. So that's what I'm doing. I have my Patreon for my scripted fiction podcast, also known as Audio Dramas, and my book. My book is out in the world now. That was an amazing experience and is actually the topic of what it is that you clicked on this video for. And well, the book is doing okay, but I can say that I didn't realize the other amounts of work that goes into the process as an indie author. You wear so many hats that you wouldn't know about unless you experience it for yourself or someone tells you about what that hat is that you need to wear and all of the hats that you need to put on so that way your book can be successful. And well, that, like I said, is what this is about. I'm about to tell you um, the things that I experienced that I feel like you need to know about. So I'm really going to break this down into just 5 things. And these are it took me a while to try to figure this out because there's so many things that I feel like you should know about, but at the same time, I didn't want to make this like a 4 hour video. So I chose 5 things that I felt like were very important that you needed to know about if you're thinking about self publishing, being an indie author, and just going for it. Now, if you're thinking about querying and all of that, that's a totally different video. I will make one about that so that way, if you are thinking about that, you'll have something that you can reference for. But this one's just pretty much going to be out what it is as an indie author that I feel like are the 5 things that are the most important things for someone to know, or at least I wish someone said to me so that way I would know what I was getting into. All right, so here we go. Number one, writing the book was the easy part. I loved writing my book. It like it is connected to my audio drama. And so it just kind of like deepens the lore and the story behind what the audio drama goes through. It's almost like, I don't know if you guys have played Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts has their main stories, but then if you look at it, they have all of these other versions of the story that come on the lower, not lower, but come on the other gaming consoles for you to play. And those side stories really tell the lore and deepen the lore of the story. And that's kind of like what this book does for my audio drama Out of the Ashes. So Prophecies, The Last Light of Avalon retells the story of Morgana, her time in Camelot. And book 1 starts with her unique birth, her upbringing, and what it is that she goes through throughout that whole time, and ends with her role in the Seelie Unseelie War with the Fae. And I did a lot of research on this book to be able to try to connect a lot of the stories that are already out there and make it so that it's telling her story and why there's so many versions of her story out there. And that was the main point of this, to try to bring it all together and connect it to the audio drama. And like I said, that was the fun part. That was the part where I was doing all of the research, doing the writing, making sure everything connected, not just connected as far as like the story goes, as far as the book goes for Morgana, but connecting it to the universe of Out of the Ashes, so that way everything felt cohesive and wasn't clashing with each other. So that's why I say number one is writing the book was the easy part. We all are writing because we love writing. Writing is what we do. And other than, I would say, like the editing, the writing, the creating the universe and all of that is the fun part. That is the part that we all love doing. The editing part can be a pain squared. But it's what we love doing. Most new authors think finishing the manuscript is the finish line, but in reality, it is the starting line. Editing, cover design, formatting, publishing platforms, marketing, and building an audience often take more time than writing the book itself. And honestly, when it comes to the marketing and building an audience, you should be doing that pretty much at the same time as writing the book. And it does become like a headache sometimes because you're a writer. You don't really want to be a social media marketer or manager most of the time. You just kind of like want to write, put your book out there in hopes that it sells. But in this day and age, you have to have some sort of online presence in order for your book to reach the people that you want it to reach. I spent years writing my book and only weeks thinking about how I was going to sell it. And that was something that put me behind. So I highly, 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 highly recommend that while you are writing your book, you should be thinking about how it is that you are going to reach the audience that you want to reach. Like doing that right now. Because if you wait until you get your book out there, it doesn't really put you behind, but you would be further ahead if you just started it now. Now, I would say it's not like you have to be on every single social media platform. You can just choose one, maybe two that you feel like you can actually market on fully. Uh, Now, each one does something different and allows you to do something different on those platforms. So make sure you choose one that you feel like you can actually do. Like for TikTok, for the most part, it's about videos. So if you feel like you can put together a quick little video for people to see that market your book, then go for that. Threads is pretty much like the new Twitter. So for the most part, that is about just like typing. So you're just typing something to say. If you feel like that's where you want to be to market your book, then that's what I recommend. I'll have another video about the social media platforms and which ones I think actually work really well when it comes to your book. But for now, just like I said, I highly recommend that you go ahead and you start putting that together now as you're writing your book. Just type something up every once in a while, let people know what you're doing, put up a video, whichever one like that. Cool. Let's move on. Number two, nobody is waiting for your book. I know that's like a harsh truth because as you're writing, you're so excited about this book. And you think that, once you put it out there, everybody's going to flock to it and you're going to get so much money and you're just going to become so popular. And I mean, it could happen. Don't get me wrong. It could happen. Your book could just blow up. It could be, one of the greatest literary books to come out, and everybody just loves it and goes out and buys it. You become a bestseller and all of that. But This sounds harsh, but it's liberating. Unless you're already famous, readers don't know you exist. All right. You need to build an audience before and after the launch through. Like I was saying in the first one, it's build your audience now through social media, through podcasts, which is kind of like what I said I've been doing because the book is connected to my audio fiction, my fiction podcast. YouTube, you're here, you're listening to what I'm saying, my points as far as all this goes, conventions and events, which is pretty much where I've been at this point. I have been pretty much just doing like events and I dress up and here's like a little picture of me right there dressed up. I was at DoverCon. Um, and I would say, like I was saying, make sure you are building that audience now. Now, I will also say one of the biggest ways sure that you create that audience and that audience will be with you throughout this whole time is an email newsletter. I know it feels like it is one of those things that's just adding work to you, but the newsletter does not have to be added work. It can literally just be like a couple sentences, a paragraph about what it is that you're doing, what the new book is about. You could tease the cover for the new book. All of those things, all of those things create your audience so that way they become as excited as you are when it comes to these things as you're putting them together. Remember, publishing a book doesn't create readers. Finding readers creates readers. Finding that audience creates your audience. You got to foster that and build that trust between you and your audience. All right. Now, moving on to number 3, your cover matters more than you think. So, despite what the old saying goes, people absolutely judge books by their cover. I've seen so many people say, "Oh my gosh, this cover is so pretty, I want it." And a lot of times they just want it because it's pretty and they're just going to put it on their bookshelf so that way they have like this color coordinated thing across their bookshelf. Um, Now, a professional cover, this is what I highly suggest you do. And I know it's not really feasible for everybody to get a professional cover. Some people are really, 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 really bootstrapping this whole thing. And I completely understand that. Like, go ahead, do Canva if you need to. You know, find like your friend or whatever it is like that to help you with your cover, but a professional cover helps you signal the genre that your book is. It helps build trust. Like I said, people do judge a book by the cover. So if they see a cover and it is a really nice looking cover, then that builds the trust that they have that the book is going to have the same thing. Like I said, people judge a book by a cover. It does improve sales. I've said before, people buy the cover a lot of the times. And then also, it helps reader instantly understand what kind of story they're getting. If they can look at the cover and see that that your cover is giving them like a fantasy vibe, then it helps them to understand, oh, this is the kind of book that I want to read. Now, if they get a fantasy vibe from your book and then you're telling them, no, it's a mystery and they're in a castle and they're trying to figure out who it, not only do they not understand from the cover, but now you've lost that trust with that person that you were hoping to build that audience with, so that you were hoping to become one of your readers. Uh, like I said before, I understand it's not feasible for everybody to get a professional cover, but keep that in mind if you have to go to Canva to make your cover. Make sure that when you make your cover, try to get a somebody to look it over, almost like a beta reader. When you make your cover, give it to someone else, or ask if you have an audience already. Ask your audience, what do they think about this? Does it give them that feeling of what you've told them your book is about? If not, try it again, go back, do some remix, and however many rounds it takes. Figure out what you want your cover to look like, and then go ahead and go to those beta cover people, so that way they you can get that final version together. But absolutely, people judge books by their covers. Make sure your cover is what it needs to be. All right. Number four, marketing is not optional. Marketing is absolutely needed. You need to market your book. We've been talking about that this whole time, because many authors believe that if the book is good enough, readers will find it. Unfortunately, thousands of books are published every day. Every day, thousands of books are published. Um, Marketing is part of being an indie author. Content creation, networking, book signings, podcast appearances, email marketing, paid ads, all of these are part of being an indie author, and all of these cost money unless you figure out ways to bootstrap these things. Now, I will have another video out where I talk about ways to bootstrap all of these talking points that I have, because while all of these things do cost money for people who do it professionally, there are ways to make it so that you can cut the cost a little bit. So that way you don't have to, spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to get all of that together. Even I have done a few of these things where it's like I can cut the cost because I found ways to work around some of these things. Um, like I said, for me, I wanted to be a writer, and I did. I'd also have to be a marketer. You really do have to learn these things, because when you think about being traditionally published, they have entire like divisions of people who do these types of things. They have their own editors in these big five marketing and not marketing big five publishers. They have their own editors, marketing. They have people out there who beta read for them and all of these other things. So when you're doing it all yourself, this is all on you to make sure you are putting out the best possible product for your audience. Now, moving on to this next one, I feel like it kind of like ties into it, and that is number five. Success takes longer than you expect. I said this before. A lot of authors, when they put out their book, they think that they're going to put out their book and instantly become a New York Times bestseller, because their book is amazing. People tell them their book is amazing. But most of the time, you're not going to be an overnight success. It takes years to build the catalog and the audience to have the are going to buy your book on a consistent basis to even get to those types of numbers. Now, there are some people who strike lightning, and it's just as soon as their book comes out, it is an instant success. They make thousands of dollars and all of that. But for the most part, for indie authors, I recently saw an article where they were saying that in order to be successful, you have to have at least four books out in order to not to be successful, but to make this like your full-time job. You need at least four books out, two books at least a year to, keep it going, to keep your audience and your readers wanting more. One book rarely changes anything, but it would be good if you started like a series. That way, if you have a series, even if it's just your first book, you can collect emails from the people who bought the first book and say that your next book is coming out soon. Join the email list so that way you know when that book is coming out. But there's no secret to becoming a success. The honestly, the secret is you just got to keep writing. keep publishing, and just keep improving. Many authors don't gain momentum until book 2 or 3, and some don't even do it until book 5. Your first book isn't your career, even if it comes out and there are people who are saying they didn't really like it or anything. Even if it comes to that, your career is based on your perseverance. Can you take those suggestions and move on and learn from it and become better? As if you can continue to persevere and become better with your writing, you can build your audience. That's it. Building that audience. You can build your audience from that. All right. So make sure you just persevere and just keep moving forward. And that's it. Those are the 5 that I feel like were the strongest and the things I wish I would have had a conversation about with other people. If you're getting ready to self-publish your book, don't focus on making it perfect. Focus on making it the first step in a long journey, because that's what this is. That's what publishing your book is. It is a long journey. Every successful author started with one book, one reader, and a willingness to keep it going. And that's all it is that you need, that perseverance and that willingness to keep it going. So that is all for today. Like I said, again, thank you for joining me and, talking with me about this. If you have any questions or any suggestions for the next video, leave it down in the comments below. And I will see you next time.